Hi everyone, Tony from Hack the Movies here, and today we're going to talk about my favorite James Bond movie ever, Tomorrow Never Dies.
Talking about tapes.
Hello, Tad from Here's What I Don't Get. How are you?
Hello, Tony. I'm doing great. How are you?
It's great. It's great to finally have you in the store.
Great
Long
to be
time
here. Yeah.
coming.
I've been calling in. I've been dodging the calls a lot, but
Wow. Anyway, you're not as famous as some of the other people on my show. I'm sorry. I don't know if you know this, but not to brag, I am verified on Twitter, so I am more important than you.
I'm banned from Twitter. So yeah,
Well,
we're both sides of the spectrum.
Oh, I'm definitely not airing this episode, though. This will be the lost episode of Hack the Movies.
So this is your favorite James Bond movie?
Yes.
Oh.
And for a while I thought, I'm like, oh, is it just nostalgic? Because this is the first one I saw in theaters. It was the first one I owned. I'm like, do I just have a personal connection because of that? Because that happens with a lot. Like, there's a lot of movies that are my favorite that I know aren't the best. Like, my prime example is Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah.
That's probably the worst one, but it's my favorite. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, not the best one.
It's a rough one.
But my favorite. So I thought that was the case. But no, every time I rewatch it, it still really, really holds up. Definitely ahead of its time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's definitely overlooked too. I feel like with Brosnan, and there might be a reason why this was overlooked, but GoldenEye comes out, huge hit.
Yeah.
Then there's this one. People don't really talk about it too much. World is not enough. People just make fun of the whole Denise Richards thing.
Yeah.
And then everyone shits on the last one. They all kind of overlook this one. And I think that might be because it came out the same week as Titanic.
Oh, it got buried.
Well, it did do well.
It did well enough, but yeah.
It did well financially because the people who didn't feel like seeing Titanic or were waiting to see Titanic just saw Tomorrow Never Dies. So it did well financially, but like, yeah, Titanic was such like a juggernaut. Like, this one just didn't really leave an impact on people, but it left an impact on me. I saw it in theaters.
Yeah. I think Goldfinger's my favorite all time, but Goldeneye is the best Brosnan one, hands down.
Really?
Yes. What I think is interesting about this movie and really all the James Bond films is that, you know, your first movie with a new James Bond, it was usually written for the last guy.
Yeah.
And so there's kind of like a weird feeling in there. And so Goldeneye has the like ruthlessness of Dalton's Bond,
yes,
but he has the charm that Brosnan brings in the later movies. So your second James Bond movie is like the first time you're writing for. So it's in a lot of ways that's like their first actual movie.
Yeah,
and so I think this one's really, really good. It's definitely, it feels like his movies were kind of on a downward trajectory in quality and not as much of an upward. And so this one I think is probably on par with Goldeneye, but the others are lacking.
Yes, they definitely go down in quality. This was directed by Roger Spottiswoode, who did Terror Train, starring Jamie Lee Curtis, Turner and Hooch,
a classic film,
and Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. I looked at that, I'm like, wow, that guy really had a career after those three. Okay.
Turner and Hooch wasn't bad, but Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Man, that you'd think that you just retire at that point.
Terror Train has 2 remakes right now on Tubi.
Oh no!
So I gotta check
Tubi
those
Tuesday,
out.
Everybody, check it out.
I need to rewatch the original. I don't remember anything from the original other than Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. And then Bruce Fierstein, he returns to write. He was one of the writers on the last one, and then he would write the next one. Yeah, like I said, I saw this in 1997 in theaters. When did you first see this?
Probably about the same time. I don't know if I was in theaters or not, but we had this movie on VHS, actually, this same copy, and I must have watched it, every other weekend. I was watching that, or Goldeneye, The Terminator. Like there were a handful of movies, Goldfinger, like that I would just watch over and over and over again. And this is one of them because James Bond is like the coolest. He's like the coolest character in literature and film. You know, you just want to be James Bond so much. He was so cool. He's like suave with the ladies. He's got all the cool gadgets. He's like kicking ass and taking names. And I think Brosnan's Bond is one of the best Bonds. Like it's him or Connery. And I think he has a really, really good synthesis of the other Bonds. He has like Connery's charm, and he has Moore's wit, and he has like Dalton's ruthlessness, but all in this like perfect package.
I did really like Dalton. Dalton never really got a...
he didn't get a fair shake.
Yeah, he only got those 2. Well, it's not as bad as the other guy.
Crap. No. George Lazenby.
George Lazenby,
On Her
which
Majesty's
if I
Secret
remember
Service.
right, I think I might have mentioned in the other episode, but like I think his manager convinced him that James Bond movies weren't going to be popular anymore and got him out of that. I hope he fired that guy.
Well, no, I mean, he kind of lost his Lazenby lost his mind. He went from being, like a bouncer to now he's James Bond, and he kind of lost his mind and needed to get out of the business, and it's probably the best thing for him.
Probably.
So they bring back Connery for Diamonds Are Forever, and I don't personally care for that one very much. But yeah, Dalton's 2 movies are really interesting because they like deconstruct Bond, and he's much more out on his own, and he's a lot closer to the book character.
Yeah.
And I guess when Dalton was cast, they actually looked at Pierce Brosnan, but they didn't cast him because his contract with Remington Steel,
They
I believe,
renewed it like right before, so he couldn't get out of it. But yes, let's go through this movie.
All right.
It starts off, there's some kind of arms deal going on in some foreign country. That's one thing. M is just relegated to just like this one room the entire movie.
The room of televisions.
The room of televisions.
And can you imagine like a more micromanaging boss? They're like, yeah, we're going to need you to put up a secret camera so we can watch you across the country, across the globe, and tell you that you're doing your job wrong.
Yeah, so M is there with like the British Army or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're looking at this big arms deal going on, and we know that it's James Bond. It hasn't been revealed yet. He's doing reconnaissance. And they basically are just like, well, there's all the bad guys. Let's just blow them all up.
Yeah. No, well, his reveal is great. The guy is trying to light up a smoke, and Bond lights it for him, and then he looks up and sees who it is, and he just punches him right in the face.
It's like filthy habit because it's the 90s. They had to tell us smoking was bad. They always had to tell us smoking was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, so I like that the military is like, well, there's all those bad guys. Let's just blow them up with this cruise missile. We did good job, guys. As the cruise missile's launching, James Bond like points the camera to nuclear warheads. Like, oh fuck!
No, there's a reveal. The plane sitting there. There's like a truck in front of him. And they're like, "Are you not?" He's on the radio, and he's like, "Well, of course we see the plane sitting right there." And then the truck pulls away, and they're like, "Oh my god, we've already launched the missile. Abort!" And of course, nothing works.
It happens in movies all the time. For some reason, like missiles, they always launch fine, but when you have to abort them, meanwhile, in real life, missiles just blow up all the time.
Yeah.
But so he has to now fly this plane out of the goddamn strike zone. And we forgot to mention at the site was
Ricky J
magician
buying a
Ricky
little
J.
red box.
Yeah, which I'm still not sure how the hell that thing works, but it looks cool.
Well, they explain it very in detailed in the movie.
Yeah.
You just have to not be asleep when that happens.
I guess so. I realize you have to plug it into something.
It takes the blue dot and makes you think that that's where the red dot is, and then that makes your boat be not in the blue dot area.
Yes, it all makes sense now. So yeah, he has to pretty much stop everything. He's blowing up everything.
Yeah, he's like shooting the machine guns out, blowing up trucks.
Oh, he's like lighting shit up,
throwing grenades and stuff. Yeah,
it is intense. And the whole time you got that ticking clock with the missile,
and they're like
over.
shooting the missile coming through the valleys and stuff. And then another thing that's always worried me as a kid, I'm like, how is this missile navigating this? When you think it would just be like a straight arc up into the air and then straight down on the thing, but this missile is like zooming through.
Yeah, it like goes to go through the map. It looks more exciting.
It is more exciting.
So yeah, he's destroying everything. I love how he's in such a rush to get the plane out that he just knocks out the pilot in the back, but he doesn't have time to throw him out, so he's just hoping he doesn't wake up. Then you have Jet Chicken.
Yeah,
where they're on the runway, and I'm like, again, being a 7-year-old in the theater, I'm like, this is amazing. This is so good.
It is an amazing cold open.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do chicken. The guy goes in the explosion, then he survives. And then you have like a dogfight.
Yep.
Which is incredible. Again, the effects in this are top notch.
Yeah, they are. You really can't tell that it's rear projection for
and like the miniatures on blue screen looks really good. Whereas like GoldenEye, that plane in the beginning, when you look back at it, it's a little rough. It's a little rough. So,
the shot of him like coming to the door and he's got the rear projection screen behind him in GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Nowadays, especially when you're getting it on Blu-ray and like 4K Blu-ray, it's like, but it's so. I think you can kind of get away with that if the movie is like good enough that you
Yeah.
like, I don't care. This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
fun. He jumped off the thing and he's gonna get into this plane.
But this, it's pretty seamless.
Yeah.
I can't really see anything wrong with it. Yeah, then you get this exciting dog chase where there's so he has to fight a jet, and they're like, "Oh, let's wake that guy up in the back."
Yeah,
then
and they start
so
choking
he's
him.
trying to stop getting strangled while flying the jet with his fucking knees. I'm like, this is the coolest thing in the world. Why don't people talk about this more often?
And then he gets like the kill of a century. Like
It's one of the best
Zook to the
kills.
max.
Yeah.
Ejects the co-pilot, which I think, he's got a cord around his neck. Wouldn't that just cut his head off?
Probably. Yeah, I think that would actually decapitate James Bond.
That should have been the end of the movie. It decapitates him. That guy hits the other plane. It explodes. Both planes just crash into the ground.
The nukes
The
go
nukes
off.
go off. And back at British headquarters, they're just like, "Oh my God, we inadvertently nuked a small Eastern European country. What are we gonna do?" You cut to the Prime Minister, like a British royal agent was killed today.
Meanwhile, the bad guy of the movie is just like, that fucks up my...
How did he get away? He was like, he had just bought the red box.
Oh,
This
yeah,
is
Ricky
always
Jay
bothered
got
me.
out of there pretty quick.
And then this cruise missile hits, and what is Ricky Jay in a Jeep? And just like,
Yeah, he got out of there really... I don't know how the hell he got out
probably
of there.
held up a handkerchief
Well,
and then
yeah,
just
yes.
disappeared.
I was going to say, he is a magician.
My red box gone.
He pulled an escape pod out of behind someone's ear. He's like, I got an escape pod. But yeah, so he ejects, and I just love that it just goes through the bottom of the other guy's plane.
Yeah.
And I love the how the plane just does this loop and it just blows up. Just an incredible opening scene.
Yep.
And then Bond is cool as ever. He's like, "Oh, I got it, Em. I'll see you soon."
Yeah, tell me where you want these missiles
Yeah, tell me
delivered.
where
I
you want
believe is
these
his
missiles.
line. Yeah.
Then we get the Sheryl Crow song opening. Really cool opening sequence.
It is, and that song is a banger. I still
Yeah.
love it all these years later.
Yeah. You got these cool X-ray stuff. You got girls' boobs made out of circuit boards.
Mm-hmm.
They must have got the TSA involved because there's an X-ray machine with all the guns, and it looks like when you're getting your stuff scanned at the airport. But yeah, there were some credits I saw here. They have Chris Corbold coming back to do the stunts and the special
Yep.
effects. He did a lot of the James Bond movies and the Batman movies.
Yeah.
He's one of the best practical stunt guys in Hollywood.
Yeah, he choreographed the tank chase in Goldeneye. That was his first movie as the supervisor, not just as a person on the crew.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of raised the stakes on this one with the halo jump and all the scuba diving scenes, the motorcycle chase, the car chase inside the garage.
God, yeah.
There are so, and I mean this opening sequence too is there's so many moving parts that are handled so well. Yeah.
But yeah, so then we get our next scene. There's a Navy ship in the South China Sea. And then these bad guys send a missile in with a saw to destroy the ship. It's actually pretty cool because it's like a torpedo with just a buzz saw, like a drill there.
It's almost like a horror movie there when it's coming through the ship and running through people and stuff. Yeah, that
and I
is
love the
wild.
narration. They're like, now they're wondering why the torpedo hasn't exploded. So yeah, it's destroying the ship, and then they fire 2 rockets at MiG pilots, I think.
Yeah,
So they're trying to make it look like the British attacked the
Chinese, yeah.
and vice versa. Then I think we get to see our first hint at the bad guy writing his headline.
Yeah, Elliot Carver.
Elliot Carver, played by Jonathan Pryce.
Jonathan Pryce, this is the first movie I've seen him in, and everything I've seen him subsequently, in my head, he'll always be Elliot Carver. And so, when I watched Pirates of the Caribbean and he's the dad, I'm like, this guy's up to something. I just know he's going to be and then it turns out, that whole franchise, he turns out to be a really good guy.
Yeah.
And I was like,
And then he dies and he's on a boat in the afterworld. And so
Yeah.
that was a weird fucking ending for that
weird-
character. He played the Pope in something recently.
Yep.
And he looks like the actual Pope, which
he
is pretty
does look
funny.
exactly like the actual Pope.
Yeah, so he's writing the headline of everything that happened. I feel bad for the survivors of the Navy. They're like, "Oh, help!" The stealth boat shows
Yep.
up and they're like, "Help us!" And they just
Just
get
gun him
machine
down,
gunned.
yeah.
And it's all being filmed. He's got to get great footage
Yep.
of it all. Then I love this scene. Carver meets up with his team of bad guys. And it's it's basically big tech. This movie's telling you that journalism
Is
and the
evil.
media and big tech are the bad guys, and they're organizing everything.
Yeah, the whole thing where he's trying to, his newspaper's called Tomorrow, and he's like orchestrating a war so that he could sell more newspapers, and he's launching like a 24-hour global media satellite network, and he's using the internet. And I'm like, as a kid, it was like whatever, but now as an adult, you watch and you go, this is kind of weirdly familiar and seems
it is based off history, because what is it? Randolph Hearst, was trying to like manipulate stuff so he could cover it. And I think it was like critical of like Rupert Murdoch and all those people at the time. But now we live in this thing where like these tech guys who make these platforms are now involved in a lot of shit. It's like, all right.
Well, I also kind of wonder what his plan was. Like, if you have footage shot of like this boat sinking and people being gunned down, like how'd you get a cameraman in there and then get this footage like within minutes of this event happening?
Well, I guess
we're going to need to investigate you, sir.
I guess they could. Yeah, well, that's the thing. He does fuck up a little bit. But yeah, he sits there and he's talking to everyone. He's like, how is my new operating system? They're like, sir, it's on the way. And
as requested, it's full of bugs, which means people will be forced to upgrade for years.
That fucking shit happens.
It absolutely does.
That literally happens. And then the one is like, that politician isn't playing ball with us, so we have the tape of him and whoever. He's like, yes, tell him to do that or we'll release it.
Then release it anyway.
And then release it anyway. Which I don't know. Like, that might come back to bite you in the ass, buddy.
I feel like the meeting is so cartoonishly evil. It's like, might as well have started with, meanwhile, the Legion of Doom, and then like Elliot Carver walks in.
It is ridiculously evil. But yeah, I think like this scene really makes me appreciate the movie more. I'm like, yeah, we do have these media guys that are trying to get involved in everything.
And it kind of seems like they're like working together to make sure that they all end up on top. Yeah.
It's like when certain people get banned off every single platform on the same exact day. It's like, it's like, you can agree with it or not, but it's weird that it all happened on the same day. It's like, you guys sure you are talking to each other? Because it seems like you're talking to each other.
Especially when you get banned from something innocuous. Like, oh yeah, your Spotify account's being banned. Like, why? I can't like get on my Spotify account and rail against like the Tomorrow newspaper and how they're manipulating the press.
So then we get to see Bond sleeping with his French teacher.
Yes.
Which Bond doesn't already know French.
Well, he's got to brush up.
Oh, he's got to brush up on his French. We get to see a little bit of butt, actually. Which we
get to see butt a couple of times in this movie.
Yeah, which, the James Bond movies, they're very sexual, but they always shy away from straight up nudity.
Yeah.
So that was cool to see on the big screen as a 7-year-old. I was like, oh my God, a butt! He gets a call from Moneypenny telling him to come in, and then she's got a really good line. You always were a cunning linguist, James.
Yeah.
That was fucking... Went over my head as a kid, but now that I'm older, I'm like, that's funny.
I always loved this Moneypenny and Brosnan, that combination. I think that they have like a little bit more chemistry than the ones prior.
Yeah.
There, and maybe it was just like a little more overt and it wasn't as subtextual, but I always like that pairing in those 4 movies
until the end of the 4th one.
When she's like using VR to
like
that
bone him, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure if you just asked him, he would. I don't know if you need VR.
And also, like VR doesn't work like that.
Well, yeah, I'm aware. So yeah, both countries are like ready to go to war with each other.
Yeah,
and around this time there was like a whole thing. What was it like? Hong Kong got its independence.
It's right about that same time that Rush Hour came out.
Yes, around the time Rush Hour came out. Do I have it on set?
Yeah, it's right here.
Okay.
Behind me.
Because what was it? England.
The lease with Hong Kong. England leased Hong Kong from the Chinese government like 100 years ago, and the lease basically came up some point in the 90s. I don't remember exactly when.
Yeah, I think it actually was 97.
And then it got transferred back to the people of China, but Hong Kong is still kind of its own thing even today.
Yeah. So everyone's ready to go to war over this. Obviously, people don't want that to happen. Yeah. I think they screw up because they're like, how's this newspaper reporting on this before we did?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, Carver, like...
Wait, fucking 24 hours, please.
Yes, like you had to know you were going to get on their radar. Like, what the fuck? Like... You have to at least wait for them
to get like a press statement, and then you give more details, and it's like, we must have a leak,
or not even press statement. Like, wait for them to find out, And then they could be like, yeah, then so there must be a leak that leaked to the news or something. Don't just report on it right away. Because they get on their radar. They're like, yeah, that's fucked. We got to look into that. But yeah, so they're ready to go to war. And then they basically tell M, they're like, hey, if you think this guy's involved in this, you got 48 hours to prove it. As luck would have it, I mean, who hasn't James Bond slept with? But James Bond has slept with Carver's wife in the past.
They send him to. Sorry.
That's okay. Everyone bumps it.
They send him to the big opening gala for the Carver Media Worldwide.
Yes.
Carver Media Group, CMG. Yeah. And he's pretending to be a banker, and he wants to like talk to Carver, and then you find out that he knows his wife, that they slept together, and I was a girl, Bond, and runs her off, and then she shows up back in his hotel. But I love when they like drag him out of the party. Like, Mr. Carver wants to speak with you. They put him in the soundproof room.
Yeah.
And there's the guy sitting outside the soundproof room just kind of staring off while he like beats the crap out of all of these guys. And there's like instruments he's slamming them into.
Yeah. That is a great scene. But before he gets to that, he's got to pick up his new car.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And so he goes to the airport to the Avis Rent Center.
Yeah.
And Q shows up as an Avis. Avis got their product placement in this. And he showed him his new car. Yeah.
Yeah.
He showed him his new car, and he's like, it does this, it does that.
You can drive it from your cell phone. I thought that was so cool.
That was fucking awesome. And like, I love that Q is just like, but James Bond, he's got
fingers of
really
magic
good with his fingers, and he can like, he's making it like skid out on the runway and shit,
and stops on a dime right in front of them.
Yeah,
I would love to see like an alternate version of this movie where the car comes out of the box and he's like, yeah, this one drives on its own. He pulls out the phone and he's like, wait a minute, that's not showing this street. Oh no, we rented it to the wrong person, because like, the classic Seinfeld bit, anyone can just hold the reservation. And this guy's like driving around, he's like, what's this button doing? A missile fires out in traffic. Oh God!
Oh, also his phone is a taser. You have to remember that.
And it has like a lockpick in it. It has a fingerprint scanner. Yeah, his phone is like the original smartphone.
It really is. Yeah. It really is. But yeah, so then he goes to that event as the banker, like you said. They try to take him out because I think they're on to him.
They're immediately on to him.
Well, maybe because he said his name is James Bond, and they're like, oh yeah, I've known a lot of other like warlords and bad guys that always ran into someone named James Bond.
Bond. James Bond.
And all their plans failed. Isn't that a coincidence? How many James Bonds are there around there?
Yeah, you would think sometimes he uses different aliases.
St. Smythe.
But yeah.
Which is spelled St. John Smith, but that's pronounced St. John Smythe. I never got that.
That's his name in View to a Kill, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But in this one, he's just like, yeah, I'm James Bond. I'm a British Secret Service. I mean, a banker.
I love banking. like Newman.
Yeah, like Newman. Your dream was to be a banker. And that's why you wanted to kill yourself, and I had to come over here. Permission to treat the witness as being hostile, Your Honor. He's your witness.
But you're right. He beats the shit out of Carver's boys, and I love he like ruins his big event. He like turns.
He turns everything off right in the middle.
I feel
of his
bad.
big
He fires that girl. He's like, "What's going on?" She's like, "I don't know. You're fired." It's like, "Oh, okay."
Inadvertently fired by James Bond. I also like he just flicks a couple of breakers and like the whole building dies.
Yeah,
the satellite uplink is loaded. It's like, man, Carver, you really should have put like, I don't know, a padlock on that panel or something. Not that would stop James Bond, but it'd make a little bit more sense just being like, oh, what's this big switch that says do not touch, especially during my speech? Gotcha.
I did like during the party we get our first introduction briefly to Michelle Yeoh's Wai Lin.
Yep. Also pretending to be a banker.
Also pretending to be a banker. Her and James Bond are very similar, as we find out. But yeah, later that night, I guess Terry Hatcher, all those old feelings came back.
Yeah.
So she beats him up in his room. She's like, Bond, I'm so scared of Elliot.
Do you still sleep with a gun under your pillow, James?
And being a kid, seeing Terry Hatcher's like,
oh yeah, she was
tits pulsating. I was like, that's Lois Lane.
Exactly. I've been watching the Adventures of Lois and Clark, and I think that show was on about this time. And yeah, Lois Lane walks in and she gets railed by James Bond. It's like, man, James Bond is cucking Superman.
Yeah, and fucking
But then Superman kills his wife, so it's probably a good choice on her part.
it all works out. Carver is upset because she pretended not to know who he was.
Yes.
But then he's got the security footage.
She said that they had met muted I think, but he like uses the security footage, which is incredible because it like picks up this muted conversation in a massive gala.
We talk about that in the Batman 89 episode where like Gordon's talking to the cop and like Bruce Wayne's like, wow, that one camera aimed at that plant just had the best microphone in the world in the middle of that party.
This movie does do a good job, at least, where they like film the scene again from up above, so it feels like security footage. I hate in movies, and they're like, "Let's go to the security footage from the last time," and like it's a clip from the earlier in the movie.
Star Trek 3
Star Trek 3 does that. Like, let's see the footage from the engineering section during the end of Wrath of Khan. Like, this looks shockingly like Wrath of Khan. Was someone editing this security footage because we're changing angles too?
The Mummy Cop Christmas special, the news is playing stuff that happened that there were no cameras there for.
Yeah.
I just reused footage. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I love in movies when they use like behind the scenes photos. Like what is it? Halloween 4 has a picture of Jamie Lee Curtis with the pumpkin from Halloween 1. I'm like, no one took a picture of that.
Yeah.
Where did you get that?
Or like in the first Iron Man movie, the newspaper with Iron Man, that's a picture. That's like a bootleg picture that someone took of the set. And
really?
someone in the like, little limited armor. And then they put that in the movie. Yeah.
So Bond breaks into Carver's newspaper facility, and he finds more stuff. He finds like the model of the satellite. I think he finds like the red box.
Yep.
The safe that has the satellite thing. Not only does it have a red box, it also has porn and drugs and money.
Yeah.
Ricky Jay is doing all the bad things.
Yeah, he's a bad guy.
He's a really bad guy. He's like, my satellite confusing machine. I'll put that next to my Russian porn magazines and my heroin and all my money. It's like, dude, what the fuck?
You don't like to get high, rub one out and then, take over international trade all in one.
I haven't
weekend.
tried it.
Well,
so I shouldn't knock it until I try it. I really shouldn't knock it until I try it.
I also love that, like so he has the thumbprint scanner. His phone has the thumbprint scanning thing, and he just like scans it, and then he holds the phone back up to the deal, and it's like, "Yep, that works."
Yeah,
like,
no,
okay.
Like, don't you have to like touch it and shit? It's not even like what was it? The one was it Charlie's Angels where they had to like put it on their finger?
Put it on their finger, yeah. Or I've seen they'll like take pull the thumbprint and then put it on like a gummy bear and then use that to make the thing. Nope.
Yeah.
He just holds his phone up to it.
Shows a picture of
the greatest smartphone ever made.
Okay, so I always felt bad during this, like, he bumps into Michelle Yeoh again.
Yeah.
Wyland.
Like repelling up walls and stuff.
Yeah, well, she's repelling down walls at one point. But yeah, I love how, like, she's very different for a Bond girl. It's like she's also a secret agent, we're learning. But she's like on her own mission, like how they just keep bumping into each other because they're basically doing the exact same thing. But they have to get out of there. And I always felt bad for, like, I don't even think they're really henchmen.
They're just people that work at the newspaper.
Security guards at the newspaper place, and Bond is murdering them violently.
I'm gonna need to throw you into this whole newspaper machine. Like, look, man, I get paid $7.25 an hour. I'm just supposed to make sure no one's in here that's not supposed to be. I got a wife and kids. I'm not part of the evil media empire.
I've brought it up so many times. That's one of my favorite deleted scenes in Austin Powers. Remember the henchman that gets steamrolled? The guy from there's a deleted scene where his family gets a call that he died, and it's like his stepkids, and I'm like, you never think about those henchmen. It's like that guy was just at the I'm going to the newspaper factory.
I mean, they set off an alarm if you're in charge of you're just being paid to be a security guard to kind of wander around and be like, everything going okay today? Yeah. Oh, hey Jimmy, hey Tom.
Yeah.
And then the alarm goes off. It's like, well, we better get to work. There must be some rascally kids. And then here comes James Bond just like putting you down one by one. Oh my God, Carl! No,
you have to like write something in there where like these guys aren't just security; they're also bad guy. Like give them like I don't know, give them like a SWAT stick on their head or something, like something that says bad guy. Like have them talking to a guy and be like, "Yeah, I burned an orphanage last night just because I felt like." And then it's like, "All right, I hope James Bond." Instead, the guy's like, "Yeah, I'm just a family man. Just make sure the news gets printed on time." Oh no! But yeah, he throws the one guy into the machine and blood prints all over the paper. And of course, he's like, "Oh, they'll print anything these days."
Yeah.
It's like, dude, that is a man who probably had a family.
I killed this man, and now I will make fun of his death.
But yeah, I did like how he's like struggling to get out of there, and Michelle Yeoh's just got the bat rope, and she's just like, bye. She like waves at him and like leaves. Yeah, he goes back to his hotel,
locks the red box in the car.
Yes, and the bad guys are really struggling with that. Although there was a continuity error coming up, I'll talk about it. Yeah, the bad guys are struggling to get in the car. They have like the sledgehammer and stuff. He gets into his room. Terry Hatcher's dead.
Not Lois Lane.
She's dead. Killed by Vincent Schiavelli.
Yep.
One of my favorite background character actors.
You see him all the time.
We talked about him he was in Batman Returns recently. We talked about. I love his character because like it does feel like a classic, like unique Bond kind of villain.
Yeah.
And he's like talking about how like he's like
I like to torture people, Bond.
Yeah, he's
I
like
can kill you from anywhere and make it look like anything.
Yeah, he's really hyping himself up and it's real menacing. And then like his speaker goes off. He's like, ow. And then I love it. Almost seems like it felt like this was like a scene in an Austin Powers movie where he's just like, okay, I know I have to kill you, but the guys can't get in your car. He's like, I love it. He goes, I'm sorry, this is so unprofessional. They can't get in your car. How do we get in your car?
And then he falls for such an easy trap. He's like, oh yeah, on my phone, press this button and then this button. And then the taser prongs come out and just like it'll obliterate him.
Yeah.
And then Bond grabs him and forces his gun over. Bam, blows. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, I'm just a professional doing a job. So am I.
Yeah.
And then he kisses dead Terry Hatcher.
That is weird.
And I'm just like, because the last thing you do before you die, shit yourself.
What?
When you die, you shit yourself.
Oh.
So it's like, oh man, it probably smells really bad.
I don't think beautiful women shit themselves in the
Oh, they don't?
Yeah. No. There's that's like a scientific thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That'd be funny if it just flies around her during that whole scene. But yeah, I did like how
Bond walks in. He's like, what does that smell? It smells like someone killed the woman I was with last night. Again.
Again. It happens a lot.
Does this ever happen to you?
Then we get an awesome car scene. I will say the car, when I watched this with my patrons, I streamed myself watching this with patrons at the $10 tier on Patreon for exclusive live streams.
What is it? Patreon.com/hackthemovies?
It is.
Yeah, you should check that out.
You should. We watched this together. I think we agreed the car looks a little dated. It doesn't look as cool as some of his other cars.
Yeah, I mean, this was like a BMW classic sedan. This is also, we had kind of moved away from the Aston Martins during the Roger Moore era. We get the V6 with Dalton in The Living Daylights, but then he doesn't have a car in License to Kill.
Yeah. But then GoldenEye, they introduced this cool car, and then it doesn't do anything.
It does. Oh, that was so frustrating.
That was and I feel like this scene made up for that because, the Q, like here's your cool car. It does all this stuff, and then he just
he gives it to Jack Wade, and Jack Wade's like, "All right, I'm dressed. See you later, Brandon."
Yeah,
I'm like,
Showdown Baker. I'm like, is Showdown Baker gonna shoot missiles out of it? What's going on here?
Yeah, and this one, he's got like the rooftop mounted sunroof. So this is what I understand. So he's got the rooftop mounted missiles that are in the sunroof. Can you see those missiles through the sunroof, or is there something that's like rotating
behind
through
the sunroof? That's a little confusing.
Calthrops out of the back bumper.
Oh yeah, I call them ninja stars for some reason.
Yeah.
I was like, ninja stars. That's what it's got.
It's got the BMW logo comes up with the wire cutter, and I love that. Like in hindsight, that they designed the gadgets based on what they want the sequence to be. But so when you see the Q scenes and he goes like, this car has this and this and this and this and this, and you're like, I wonder how they were going to get to see him.
Yeah. Now the Razor. It's like, wow, they had to have known that there would be a wire at that
exactly that level.
Exactly. It reminds me again of the fucking scissors on the Batwing in Batman '89. Like, how did he ever know he was ever going to use that? Yeah, that is very specific. But there is a little bit of a continuity error here.
Okay,
we were watching with the fans. They had so much trouble breaking his windows, and then suddenly they're able to shoot out his windows.
Yes,
that was a little like, okay, well.
Well, they had to so he probably pushed a button we didn't see that turned off the super protection of the windows because he knew someone was going to shoot a missile through.
That is pretty cool. By the way, I love the guy brought the rocket launcher. I'm like, wow, they were thinking what do we need for this job? They thought they were just breaking into a car.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we better bring the rocket launcher.
I got my Slim Jim. If that doesn't work, we have a crowbar to break out the windows. If that doesn't work, my rocket launcher.
By the way, the red box is in there. Don't you want to not blow that up? Like, isn't that really important to your whole mission?
Yeah, the red box is indestructible.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's a real exciting whole car scene.
Yeah,
and I love that he's in the back seat
for most of it,
phone the whole time.
Yeah, and then he does transition to the driver's seat late in the race, but it's like it's in such a small area. That is. A good car chase has to have like a reason why you're chasing, and then it has to have like a good vista to do it in. And so doing one inside a parking garage is a neat idea because it's so small, and they really play with him trying to get away, and then they close the gates. And now he has to go back to this obstacle. He like rolls over his own calthrops at one point and has to reinflate his tires.
Yeah, you reinflate his tires.
Which is cool. You know, the wire cutting through that with the BMW sign. He's firing rockets out at stuff. And then he wraps it up by jumping out of the car. The door whips against something so it looks closed, and then he rockets it off the top of this parking garage and into an Avis rental.
He returns it.
Which again, I just assume there's a family in there trying to get their reservation, and then they all get wiped out when this BMW comes crashing in.
How do you feel the Avis people feel when they look at the car? Like, are those missiles? What the fuck is this? Or like, what the hell is going on in this car? Oh, we got to make sure we turn the car off. Oh my God, a flamethrower just shot up the back. Oh man, yeah. How does like MI6 cover that up? They're like, hey, what's up with this supercar here? Don't worry about it.
But I think this is Brosnan's car chase, right?
Yes.
Like every Bond gets their gadget car chase, and this was his. This is definitely his best one. They try and do it again in Die Another Day, but
oh god, with the invisible car on the
invisible
ice.
car. Yeah, that is a wild sequence.
Jeez, I can't wait to get to that one. That one's insane.
But yeah, this one and it's also great because they accelerate what's going on. The other one that I think is comparable to this is the Living Daylights in the V6 and like the driving the barn across the ice. You know, that's a really great Vista one, and this is a really great small scale one, and it just looks awesome.
And then we get to meet Joe Don Baker again. This Jack Wade, he was a bad guy in Living Daylights, right?
He was a bad guy in the Living Daylights, and then he comes back and he's a good guy in Goldeneye.
But he's a different character.
He's a different character, yeah.
Which I thought was funny. I wanted to see more of him.
I did too. I thought he was like they were trying to make him like a Felix Leiter-esque character because this is when the rights were still in contention between Eon and whatever the other guy is who claimed to have written portions of Thunderball. Right. And so like Spectre couldn't be used, Felix Leiter couldn't be used. Like there were all these bits that were in Thunderball.
And I mean, if they're all in continuity, Felix Leiter went through a lot in in License to Kill, so I would have he probably retired after that one. Yeah. That was a lot for him to deal with. So yeah, he is like the replacement Felix in that. But yeah, so they look at the encoder, they figure out like, all right, if we manipulate it, we can find out where it actually sank. Yeah. And they're like, all right, we're going to say, where is it? Like Vietnam or something?
It's in the South China Sea, but it's on the Chinese kind of dividing line.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's what the encoder did was when the signal's going to the GPS, it was sending bunk data. So they thought that they were on their side of the line and the Chinese fighters were violating their airspace. Yeah. And in reality, it was swapped. And so that makes the boat unfindable, but then James Bond finds it because he's an excellent detective.
The way to do that is to halo jump. But I love when it cuts to the plane. They play the James Bond theme, but it's like a Yankee Doodle Dandy version of James Bond's theme. I remember sitting there like, that's actually really. I wish we got more of that. Like, each time we went to a different country, it'd be like a different.
Here's a different motif, a different style on this one motif.
They do the halo jump, which I thought was really cool.
It is really cool.
The high altitude, low open jump. If you guys didn't know what halo stood for,
and then he's got that cool like wetsuit, flight suit, thing going on. Pulls the little thing and his flippers flip down.
Yeah, so he gets into the sub. And then bumps into Michelle Yeoh again.
Everywhere. How did she figure out where the boat was?
That's a good question.
He used the encoder to backtrace the bad data.
She just swam.
She somehow...
If I swim long enough, I'll find it.
She somehow figured out where this boat was with no data.
Yeah.
I guess maybe she got the reports from their fighters of when it was last spotted, so maybe that was it.
Yeah,
I want to see her movie. I want to see Michelle Yeoh.
You could have done
Dies.
like a side movie to this.
I think that might have been a plan at one point.
It should have been. I mean, compared to what they wanted to do with Halle Berry's character, I feel like this character
is
more
way
deserving.
more interesting. Yeah. Well, and Michelle Yeoh is like a martial arts
Yes.
expert. You know, she was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She's, I mean, now she's big because of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yeah. Like she could have definitely done you could have done a franchise with that character.
You could have done an entire franchise. I mean, not that she wasn't in a ton of action movies, but this character was really cool. But they get captured and they get brought to Carver. And he's just bragging about how he's going to manipulate World War III. He's showing all the headlines.
Yeah.
I like the one
he's just monologuing like a mofo.
I like the one that's like, the Empire will strike back. And he's like, that one's not even mine. I just like it.
He's writing their obituaries. Like, once again, Elliot, 10 minutes. Instead of it's taking all this time to write your obituary, why don't you, like, kill them? And then write the obituary.
Yeah, make sure they're actually dead.
Yeah, I think this is where we officially meet Stamper. That's the henchman.
Well, he was introduced early on.
Yeah, in the gala scene.
So Stamper's like the muscle bad guy.
And he's the killer earlier was
Vincent
his mentor.
Schiavelli was his mentor.
And now he's going to get revenge by torturing James Bond for 10 hours and cutting his heart out.
The previous guy's record was 52 hours. And he plans to beat it. So he's going to report on this death 52 or 53 hours before it happened.
Yeah, the autopsy shows his time of death was well after this obituary was published. That's kind of weird. Why don't we send a cruise missile at his headquarters and see if that fixes it?
He has a special one just for the testicles.
Yeah.
Which is nice. But yeah, he's like, make sure to have his heart out last so he can see it beating as he dies.
Yeah.
And of course, that doesn't happen. James Bond just breaks out.
He just kicks a guy and then they somehow get guns.
It's not clever how he gets out. No. But what is clever is this entire chase sequence where they're handcuffed together.
Yeah. They jump out the window and then they ride.
By the way, Carver has just a giant poster of his face staring menacingly at all of Hong Kong.
It kind of reminds me of a certain presidential candidate from a couple of years ago, the ego that's going on with this guy. And so they just like grab onto it and it just tears slowly down the side of the building. I love that.
Then they got to break into the building and they get on the motorcycle. And this chase is also, I don't know if you've ever seen the behind the scenes on how they did this.
I have not.
Okay, so obviously the close-ups, it's them, handcuffed together. But they had a stuntman that was wearing half of both their outfits with like a dummy. So like it was one stuntman on the bike with like half a dummy, half the outfit. So it looked like it was them driving.
That's pretty cool.
But no, it's a really exciting scene that they have to both like share.
And she's like,
controller. Yeah,
switching around, and then sometimes she'll be
she like gets in there so he can have better control.
And then they're like riding through buildings and across rooftops and through crowds of people. It is. And it's packed. Like the streets are packed, the sets they're in are packed, and they're like. So I ride a motorcycle, and let me tell you, it's fucking hard riding on two wheels in city streets. And they have two people like joining the control and riding all over. And I'm just like, this is so awesome. I realize it's movie fakeness, but it's like as a concept so cool. And then it just builds and builds and builds.
They jump over a helicopter.
Yeah.
Which is cool how they did that. Again, they have the stuntman in the suit. He like jumped into like a bunch of cardboard boxes. And they had a helicopter. They just digitally added the blades
later
around it.
Kind of like Miss Saigon.
Yeah. And then like that was really cool. And then like it gets even more. By the way, the bad guys, I feel like they're a little.
Well, at one point they're riding along a balcony as the thing is shot down behind them. And so all this stuff is falling as right behind the back tire.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, how close were these stuntmen to just dropping dead during this whole thing?
The bad guys get a little carried away. They start to tilt the helicopter blade to just chop up everyone.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a little one. Your blade is gonna get fucked up. You might die. I don't know.
They're super evil, Tony.
They are super evil. But I'm like, you're probably more likely to kill yourself than the guys you want to kill.
Chip your rotor blade and suddenly the whole thing's out of balance.
You're between two buildings. You're gonna it's gonna be a nightmare.
They corner them in that like cul-de-sac. They have nowhere to go, so they tear the clothesline out of the wall and then slide the bike underneath.
That's insane when they just go under the blades and then throw it into the rotor and it like fucks it all up.
Man,
such a good scene.
it is.
And again, Chris Corbold, he would like end up doing like the car chases for like Batman and shit.
Yeah.
I feel like he was like really experimenting with a lot of this stuff, which made those car chases even cooler.
Even better, yeah. Well, like I said, they're building, they're trying something we haven't seen before. I think that's what kept these movies more fresh than, just seeing like a bullet style car chase in a city again and again and again.
Yeah, they end up showering together. And
With their clothes on.
With their clothes on. And it turns out
Still PG-13.
Michelle Yeoh could have just taken those
handcuffs off at any time.
Like at any point, she could have been like, pull over for a second. Boom. Okay.
Yeah.
Essentially, like, now we don't have time. Like when they were going through the building to get out of there.
Hit the brakes for a second. All right, here we go.
Even before they got out of the building.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love she handcuffs him to the pipe, and I guess she thinks that works. He just rips
tears
the pipe
it right
off
off
the wall.
Yeah.
But yeah, he follows her to her hideout where she's being attacked by henchmen.
Yep. And again, she kicks ass. It's like almost an old style Hong Kong kung fu segment in that film, and she's just like kicking those guys' asses. And then James Bond comes in and he like punches two people.
Yeah. But yeah, they end up realizing, so she's working with the like China's version of MI6.
Yeah.
So they start sharing their intel together. I like that her like little room turns into like this secret agent headquarters.
Yep.
And Bond's a little ahead of himself. He's like, yeah, let me type. And then he looks at the keyboard. He's like, how about you do that? Because he doesn't know how to type in that.
And they have like a MI6 Speedmaster. This is also where James Bond he switches. We have finally abandoned, he said, the Walther PPK since Dr. No. And he switches to the P99.
Yeah.
And that is what is used like basically until Skyfall when they reintroduce the PPK with that Q scene in the museum.
Okay. But yeah, I like this scene where he like, because he doesn't know. Well, he's already bad with gadgets when he's at Q's place, but even here, he's
he's
touching
got that
the
Chinese fan and it like
I always love because it seems so out of character for James Bond when he touches the dragon. Oh, that's kind of funny. It doesn't ruin the character, but because he goes from real stoked, and then he goes right back to stoked. He's like, oh, okay.
This is supposed to be like an antique shop. I guess that's like the cover that they're using. Can you imagine like some tourist comes in, they're like, what is this beautiful dragon? Just burn out. They had their husband standing in front of him and just set him on fire. What is this? Like, oh, sorry, this is a secret agent headquarters. We don't actually sell antiques.
We have to kill you now. I'm sorry. So they figure out where the stealth boat is.
Yes.
They're able to like figure out a way to track it, and they infiltrate it. I do like that Carver just sees that they're on the security cameras. Yeah. And he's just yelling at a security guy who's not looking at the camera. He's like, what am I paying you for? What the hell is she doing here?
Yeah, it's so weird. The leap in logic it takes for them to get into the boat. Like they just kind of like take a little dinghy up to it, tie it off, get in there, and they're like, yeah, this door's open. Ah, cool. Wander in.
They're just like taking out bad guys in there. At some point,
Michelle Yeoh gets captured.
She gets captured. Bond has to save her. He fakes his death.
Yeah.
Which he kills I love like the guy just opens up the door. He's like, huh? And he just gets stabbed. But yeah, he like holds out the body and Stamper shoots him and he just drops the body. It's like, do you want to check? You want to check that body? No, it's like, oh, he's dead. It's like, is he dead? You've been wrong every time before.
Every single time. Get a flashlight and shine it on the body down there and be like, that's not James Bond.
Yeah. However, it leads to a really good pun where he's just like, James Bond is at the bottom of the South China Sea. And then he pauses and goes,
he's my new anchorman.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Diabolically evil. Even his jokes are evil.
Yeah. So M alerts the military. She's like, hey, we got Bond's intel. We have to look for a boat that's stealthy, like it's almost invisible. So they're telling like both sides, they're like, hey, it's going to show up on radar. It's not going to be obvious. You got to look for it. And then Carver finally reveals why he's doing all of this. He's like, all right, listen,
money.
The reason he wants to manipulate everything, he's like, look, I'm gonna start this war. I'm gonna make this puppet politician, this General Chang.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna promote him to like the leader. He's gonna work for me. We're gonna issue a truce, and then the Carver Media Group will be the exclusive broadcasting rights in China for 100 years.
Just like the Hong Kong lease.
Yes. And I was just like, huh. thought he could go for something cooler there. But just manipulating a war to report on it was pretty cool. It's like, I don't want the war to last for long. I just want the broadcasting rights in just China for 100 years. Like, okay.
And also, we're going to be sponsored by Goldline.
But it's also just like, like China, like, you can't just report anything in that country, Carver. I don't know if you know that.
Well, you can if you control the puppet.
I guess if you
guy.
control the government, yes. There's the whole thing with this General Chang, who I don't think we ever meet.
I think he's in the offices in where are they? They're in Thailand.
Okay.
In the motorcycle chase scene. They're not in Hong Kong. They're somewhere else.
Yeah.
And General Chang is in there. He's some exiled leader, and Michelle Yeoh says, "Oh, that's General Chang. I wonder what he's involved in this." And then there's this big reveal. Yeah. I don't think he gets brought to justice because I don't think he's on the boat. I think they do say a line where
they say that he is stuck in traffic, so there's going to be a cruise. So he's going to make them fire on each other, Britain and China. They're going to send a cruise missile, one of the cruise missiles they stole from the ship earlier. We forgot to mention they stole cruise missiles from a ship. They're going to kill all the Chinese leaders. Yeah. But General Chang, who is stuck in traffic, is going to be the only survivor. And that is how he will get promoted. It reminds me of Shin Godzilla when all the politicians get killed and the Department of Agriculture is next in line.
I was thinking it's like that show with Kiefer Sutherland, Designated Survivor.
Yeah. I never watched it.
I never did either.
So Gupta, Ricky Jay, is an idiot.
Yeah.
Because he's got him by gunpoint. He's like, I'm going to kill your guy if you don't let Wai Lin go. And he's like, Carver goes, hey, did you do all the stuff you need to do? And Ricky Jay's like, it's all done.
And then Carver's like, bang, now you have nobody.
Anymore. Ricky Jay should have been like, no, I got like 5 other things I got to do, boss.
I got to debug the thing. It's going to take hours.
It needs a new Johnson rod. Johnson rod. Okay, so during this whole fight scene where they're like sneaking around the boat, I always thought the ninja star to the neck was just a little too violent. I'm like, man, that feels really mean. There's one guy who just gets a ninja star to the neck, and there's like more blood than you usually see in these movies. Just pouring out of his neck. I'm like, I feel bad for that guy.
That guy didn't have a family, though. It was in the deleted scene. They were like, all of you men, you have no families, you have nothing to lose. Only thing to gain is money. That's why you're going to be ruthlessly evil.
Yeah, and you're all evil. You're all racist and transphobes, and you love genocide. That's why I hired you. Those were the 3 things I had when I was hiring bad guys.
Simmons, you burned a bus full of children last week just for fun.
Just for fun.
This guy here, he likes to kill puppies. Like they just make them the worst people you can possibly imagine. I'm like, okay, yeah, James Bond should kill these people.
Yeah,
it'd be for the best.
So the British find the stealth boat and they start firing on it. So Carver's plan is pretty much done at this point.
Yeah.
And he's still trying to launch the cruise missile. It's like, buddy, you're done.
Yeah, they
know who you are.
Blown a hole in the side of the boat. They know all the intelligence is out there as to what they're actually doing. The Navy's closing in. The Chinese Air Force is closing in.
Yeah, they're now working together. They know it's you. And he's like, I still got to launch this cruise missile.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're done. You're done.
I still have to evilly kill Wai Lin.
Yeah, well, then so Stamper is now on his own mission.
Yeah.
He's just like, I just want revenge.
I got stabbed in the leg. My mentor was killed.
So he gets Wai Lin again, and he doesn't kill her.
No, he chains her up, and he's like, I have her, Mr. Bond. What are you going to do? I'll drop her in the ocean.
And Bond should be like, dude, everything is blowing up around. When did you have time to do this? You didn't run away? You didn't get in a boat and get away?
You could have stopped me if you had not been busy chaining her up, suspending her from this reel. He spends like 15 minutes doing that while he could have been like killing James Bond.
Yeah.
She was tied up. She could have just like left her on the deck somewhere, all tied up, and then killed Bond, and then killed her, and then they could have continued on with their evil plan.
Yeah.
But instead, he had to create this whack cockamamie scheme.
I know, and then Carver decides, I know we forgot to mention, Carver decided to show off his kung fu skills earlier when he's making fun of Wai Lin, which I don't think you would do in a movie these days.
No.
He's like, but he decides he's gonna James Bond has killed 10,000 people at this point. Carver's like, yeah, I got it. Doesn't work. Bond
throws him into his own drill machine.
Bond turns on the drill and then like holds him in place, and like you don't see anything, but when you see the metal around Carver be shredded, you're
and
like,
then there's a sound effect, yeah.
That is fun.
And he says, "You forgot the first rule of media: give the people what they want." Puts it like putting your hand into a blender.
I almost wish there was like a NC-17 where it looks like Michael Myers in the new movie, where it's like blood just shoots out of the drill everywhere.
Yeah, wouldn't Bond? Because Bond then, when he stops Stamper, he's totally clean. He should just be like covered like Carrie, but like what is all over, and with like chips of bone and brain and stuff. Like what's all over you? Like Elliot Carver.
Now, like I said, I love this movie, but now I have to disavow it, Tab.
Okay.
Because Stamper says something about Wylin, and then James Bond goes,
Never argue with a woman. They're always right.
And my mouth dropped. I was like, this movie's woke. My favorite James Bond movie's woke. I screamed
Throw
woke.
this right in the trash.
Throw. I was like, what the hell? In 1997? I thought they didn't start writing stuff like that in movies till 2016.
Well, you think about it. Why Lynn? I mean, she is like a super Mary Sue character that's just like we don't see her train in Kung Fu for years and years and years to get into that fight.
I mean, we didn't see James Bond train either.
Well, we
but
don't
it's
need
different.
to. Yeah.
It's different.
He's a man.
He's James Bond. Yeah. But
why Lynn? What she's not. There's not a Why Lynn movie. Series that's been ongoing for 50 years. Stupid.
Although
I would like to see her resume to be a spy before they introduce her in this film.
Yeah, it's just not realistic. I turned it off.
Yeah.
In the theater, I turned it off.
7-year-old Tony screamed, "Hey, this is woke BS! I won't stand for it unless you're going to show another butt. I'll wait here. Maybe there's another third butt. We'll see."
People in the theater are like, "What's woke?
What is wrong with this kid? Who's bringing their kid to
The
these
funny
movies?"
thing is, I do that bit all the time, and some people in the comment are like, "What does Tony mean by woke?" And I'm like, I honestly don't know. Like that's kind of the joke. Like I don't know what a lot of people. I thought I did, but I feel like it changes all the time.
Yeah, we live in an ever-present now where nothing means anything anymore. Join the new speak, Tony.
So, Bond traps Stamper to the cruise missile. He puts like tiny rockets on the exhaust of it.
Yeah.
And I love they look like tiny rockets.
And they're peel and stick tiny rockets. Were they supposed to go in a gun? Where did they come from? No idea. We're just gonna slap them on the back of this.
It's just very confusing. But he slaps it on the exhaust, and he crushes Stamper's leg. So Stamper like the cruise missile never takes off. The exhaust hits it; it just blows up the entire boat, destroys him.
Stamper has like a hold of him, and he's got a knife in him.
So James Bond stabbed him, and then James Bond gets stuck in the jacket, and he pulls the knife
out of Stamper and cuts himself free. So badass.
Yeah.
Then he pencil dives into the water and saves Wylin.
Yeah.
And then they probably have sex in that little
They
rowboat.
do actually, because they start looking for him. They're like, "Commander Bond, where are you?" He's like, "Let's stay undercover." But then I love M is like, "I have a news article. Elliot Carver killed himself." Okay.
Now who's writing the news, bitch?
Like, do you want to tell people that like he was like in charge of like this horrible crime?
No.
Like, no.
No, it would make them look incredibly stupid.
It would make them look bad, actually, that a news team was able to like sabotage.
We had to send our best spy. It took him 48 hours to figure out that the guy who's printing news before it's been announced was kind of screwing around with making the news.
That is like a few years ago when there was that big Twitter hack and like all the big accounts got hacked.
Yeah.
And they tried to run some Bitcoin scheme, but people were like, "Holy shit, you could have like world leaders got hacked." And it's like they could have started like war. They could have been like, "Hey guys, at noon, I'm gonna nuke this country," and like it would have been a whole thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess if the government knew and they didn't tell the public, that would look bad on them. So they're like, "Yeah, Carver killed himself. He killed himself.
He definitely didn't have a stealth boat.
He definitely didn't have a stealth boat at all." But yeah, it's a great ending. It's just a solid film all around. Action packed. It's probably the most action packed James Bond out of those four, I think.
Out of those four, definitely.
Well, like consistently good action. Not like weird cartoony shit like what happens in Die Another Day.
Yeah.
Even GoldenEye has some slow parts here and there.
World Is Not Enough has like a pretty big slump there in the middle of action happening.
That's the one I've seen the least, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it. I should probably put it on again. I mean, like, there's good and bad of that movie. Obviously, the good is Denise Richards. I totally buy her as a scientist. The most believable thing.
I only thought that Christmas came once a year.
That is funny. That is a good fucking line. But yes, Tomorrow Never Dies. I love it.
I love it too.
Still my favorite. At least favorite of the Brosnan movies.
Not my favorite, but definitely like top of the pile.
Yes.
As especially as we continue to like the Daniel Craig. I like the Daniel Craig ones at first, but now I've kind of completely turned on them and I hate them.
Yeah. I really like Casino Royale.
Yeah.
I was one of the people that wasn't too into Skyfall. I actually dug Spectre because it felt like a traditional James Bond. It felt like he finally got to that traditional James Bond, and then they ruined it with No Time to Die.
I thought Spectre was a long slog, and then it has the silliest line in the history of cinema where we discover that what's his name? Christoph Waltz is Blofeld.
Yes.
Shocker. And he says, I am the author of all of your pain.
Yeah.
And my friend Tim, the Handlebreaker that I do Here's What I Don't Get With, we will say that line to each other all the time.
I think I said that to Nostalgia Critic on this show. I threatened him, like, you'll know it's me. I'm the author of
all your pain. It's just like, this is so cringeworthy.
Speaking of Here's What I Don't Get, I've mentioned that show on this channel several times. What's that show?
So Here's What I Don't Get is my the podcast that I do. It's myself and a stable of rotating co-hosts. We sit down and talk about like the minor annoyances in life that bother you. Talk for about an hour or so and talk about some news. We have voicemailers, kind of all the classic stuff in podcasts. Tony's actually one of our rotating co-hosts. Every week we do an episode. He has to then come out later and apologize for everything that everyone else has said.
I disavow every episode. I'm actually disavowing
this episode
plug
right now.
But
But you can check it out at hwidg.com or patreon.com/hwidg.
Yeah, the voicemails are great. As of this recording, the last voicemail segment we did, it was just people calling. Like, someone gave the number and just ran. We had people's grandmothers calling in asking how like their kids were doing. We're like, what the fuck is this voicemail?
So I'm getting voicemails right now, like while we're recording this, and I've been getting them all day, and it's just someone being like, okay, from Oakview Nursing Home, telling us about visiting hours.
Who gave you?
I don't know who put our number in there, but it's a funny bit.
So yeah, check out Here's What I Don't Get. Please like, share, and subscribe. Join our Patreon. Like I said, I got to watch this with patrons.
That was a ton of fun.
I don't know where to upload that VOD because it's me watching a movie. But yeah, I intend to do that more when I'm doing these note-taking sessions. It'd be fun to do that with fans, so sign up for that. And we will see you all later. Let us know what your favorite James Bond movie is. Goodbye.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
See you later.
Okay, goodbye.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our other videos and Patreon page.
Talking about tapes.